Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Jason Clark, and it will be my privilege and pleasure to be your Master of Ceremony for today's ceremony. On behalf of Wayne State University and the Department of Athletics, I welcome each of you to the 45th Annual Athletic Hall of Fame celebration. Today's event is an opportunity to remember, reflect, and showcase the very best of Wayne State athletics. On behalf of the athletic department, coaches, and staff, it gives us great pleasure to have all of you share in this special occasion. Here to provide a brief welcome, first on behalf of current student athletes and a representative of the volleyball program, Taylor Wagner. Taylor is also president of the Wayne State Student Athlete Advisory Committee. Taylor?
Good afternoon. My name is Taylor Wagner. I'm a junior on the women's volleyball team. As mentioned before, I'm also SAC president. I'm currently in my first year of nursing school, and I'm also a leader for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Ministry here on campus. On behalf of the athletic department and my fellow student athletes, we'd like to congratulate the Hall of Fame class of 2020. As student athletes, we appreciate and commend you on all that you accomplished during your time here on campus. This athletic community is our home and a place where you can blossom, not just as an athlete, but as an individual, a servant, and a leader. I hope that today is a day of fond memories and joy as you reflect and remember your careers as Warriors. I just want to say welcome home, Hall of Fame, class of 2020, and go Warriors.
President Wilson.
Thank you. You know, this is always such a special day. We're delighted to welcome some of our most talented people back on campus. You know, we do this every year, and it is always such a humbling experience because the people we honor are just so great. And, you know, I was a student athlete back in the day, and I thought I was pretty good, but then when I read about all these accomplishments of our student athletes, it's like, wow. It truly is very humbling. I do want to thank members of our Board of Governors for being here today. They were introduced earlier. We're here to celebrate our newest inductees to the Athletics Hall of Fame. I just want to say that you make us all very proud. As exhibited through your many athletic accomplishments and your academic excellence, you truly exemplify our motto, Warrior Strong. Where there were expectations, you exceeded them. Where there were records, you broke them. The lessons you learned in the classrooms undoubtedly helped your career, but the lessons from competition, how to strive for excellence and support your teammates, how to win magnanimously and lose graciously, how to give everything you've got when everything is on the line. Those lessons will serve you a lifetime. You're in good company in Wayne State's Athletics Hall of Fame. Today, you join a very distinguished and growing class of Wayne State players and coaches whose accomplishments are so exceptional, we want them to be remembered in perpetuity. The Hall of Fame Class of 2020 inductees will bring the membership total to more than 250. Members include Olympians, conference, regional, and national champions, former professional athletes, coaches, administrators, and individuals who have demonstrated tremendous personal interest in Wayne State's athletic programs. Each of you excelled not only on the field, but in the classroom and the community as well. You led by example, and our current student athletes are working hard to follow in your footsteps. In the fall 2019, we had 50 student athletes with a 4.0 GPA. 72% of our student athletes have a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or above. 46% of all student athletes have cumulative GPA of 3.5 or above, and 16 out of 17 teams have above a cumulative 3.0 GPA, with the 17th team at a 2.97. Last year, our student athletes recorded a total of 10,280 community service hours. Our student athletes have totaled 74,017 community service hours in the past 7 years. Wayne State finished in the top 10% in the nation in the annual NACDA Directors Cup standings. This recognizes the Division II schools with the most competitive success. To the new inductees, most of you have been out of school for at least a few years, and you've had a chance to test the value of your Wayne State degree. Judging from the feedback we get from employers, Wayne State graduates are well prepared for the world of work. I would say this is doubly true of our student athletes, because the same discipline and commitment you applied in your athletic endeavors will put you on a path of success in all walks of life. We hope that you'll share your Wayne State stories with your friends, families, and colleagues. You are the university's best ambassadors. When others look at your success, they see very plainly the value of a Wayne State experience. Thank you for all you do, for all your giving for Wayne State, your very, very best efforts. You inspire us all. Thank you.
And with us this afternoon to give remarks in his 20th year as Director of Athletics at Wayne State, Mr. Rob Fournier.
My wife gave me some great advice before I came up here. She said, you got a lot of Board of Governors here today. And I said, yeah, I know. I said, that's great. And she says, don't screw up. And I said, well, what about the president and his wife? They're here. She says, he sees you screw up daily. Okay, positive way to get me started here. Every year I have coaches that come up to me and they always tell me, boy, this person is great. They're going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. And I always think to myself, well, maybe, maybe not. I mean, there's so many things you can't predict when you come to school. It's that transition from high school to college, the academic coursework, the demands of a new coach, getting along with teammates, getting orientated to a new environment, and of course, the opposition, they get better too. So the group that makes it, it's a pretty select group. And I think what we've assembled here today is 6 of our best. I'm going to take a minute just to go through and introduce you to some of them, about some of their accomplishments, and a little bit about their history. Paige Kortman, women's diving. Paige never liked being in the spotlight. She wasn't raised that way. But then again, standing on a 3-meter board in a swimsuit with a bunch of people looking at you, well, it's not the best way to remain anonymous. But then sometimes fate comes in. In the winter of 2012, of the over 500 student athletes competing in the NCAA in Division I, II, and III, they picked out Paige Kortman to tell her very interesting and illuminating story. It told a story about a complex person that had seen about everything at her young age. They thought it was a very interesting story to tell. She told me later that I just hoped I didn't embarrass myself or my family. You know, if the Sports Illustrated cover has a jinx, well, the NCAA Champion magazine, well, has no such limitation. The next year, Paige was the NCAA Diver of the Year, taking first place in the 1-meter and second place in the 3-meter. You know, the funny thing about that spotlight is, though, that sometimes it brings out the best in people and sometimes it brings out the worst. Jealousy and sometimes even worse than that. Well, the next year, the national championships were in Cleveland. But instead of the judges coming from across the country, they all came from Cleveland. Throughout the competition, it appeared that some of the judging was a little bit unorthodox. In fact, it so upset diving coach Kelly LaCroix that she approached the judges. But Paige, she just shrugged it off. I guess even in Cleveland you can find a French judge. She ended up again being an All-American, 8 for 8 in her career in the 1 meter and the 3 meter. She was twice the Diver of the Year at the conference in 2013 and 2014. And she went on to win 3 individual conference titles. Paige, in that article, talked about some good advice her parents gave her. They told her, it's okay to be different than other people. Today, we embrace that advice. She is a little bit different. Today, she joins the Hall of Fame. Paige, stand up.
Paige Kortman, please come forward. Paige Kortman was a 4-year diving letter winner 2011 to 2014, a native of Holland, Michigan. She ended her career as a 8-time All-American, 7-time first-team All-American, and the 2013 1-meter national champion. Paige earned her degree in kinesiology. Paige was a team champion, an individual national champion, a GLIAC champion, and as Rob pointed out, the only Wayne State student athlete ever to grace the cover of the NCAA magazine, Champion. President Wilson, Rob, it gives me great pleasure to present Paige Kortman for induction into the Wayne State University Athletics Hall of Fame.
Hi, everybody. First, I would just like to say thank you for everyone being here. I'm very honored to be able to share this moment with all of you. As I accept this award, I want to be able to take time to look back at my career and give thanks to each and every person who's been here for me throughout this athletic journey, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have made it this far. Growing up, sports was always a big part of my life, but I never knew how far it could actually take me. I first started out in ballet, which was a short-lived career because I got kicked out after 2 weeks for doing cartwheels everywhere, which is then how I started my gymnastics career, which I ended up doing that for about 7 years and it pretty much just was my life. Diving was never something I imagined being involved in until I made a bold decision to quit gymnastics and pursue other sports. And that's when my mom decided it was a good idea to throw me in the pool. I was in 8th grade when I first touched a diving board, and from there my career took off. My relationship with diving was always a long and complicated one, very love-hate. There were way more early mornings than I would have preferred, lots of smacking, frustration, and tears. There was a lot of times where I thought I was just gonna hang up my chamois and be done for good. It wasn't something I thought I was gonna be able to stick out in the long run. But thankfully I had a strong support system who was able to remind me that this was something that I could do and more than capable of. Diving wasn't just a sport, it was something that helped me grow and learn so much, not only about myself, but about people who are there for you and how far they're willing to go for you when they believe in you. There was a lot of people who are very monumental throughout my growth, and I first want to thank my parents for always being my biggest supporters and introducing me to the sport, because if it wasn't for them, I would have never been here. I want to also thank them not for just teaching me to be strong, but teaching me the importance of perseverance and hard work. I want to thank my brothers also for being my cheerleaders from afar. Every good luck text, call, voicemail, anything meant more to me than you guys ever knew. I also want to be able to thank my teammates because they were also a very important support system to help me throughout this journey. I want to thank my first diving coaches I ever had, Josh DeVries and Chelsea Fulton, for introducing me to the sport and recognizing my talent and giving me the push I needed to be able to excel. I want to especially thank Kelly and Paul for everything they've done for me through my college career. And also thank you, Kelly, for being a powerful and strong female influence in my life. You've taught me a lot about being able to stand up for yourself and just take life by the horns. You always were there for me and definitely pushed me and saw potential in myself that I never was able to see. So I would not have anything that I had if it wasn't for you. So thank you. Thank you, Sean and Bryce, also, for being great coaches and motivators, along with putting together one of the greatest swim programs Division II has ever seen. Lastly, thank you to the athletic department for being there, going above and beyond for all your student athletes, and choosing me to be a part of the Hall of Fame. I'm thankful for every person who has been there for me throughout this journey. I'm very humbled and honored to be inducted to this Hall of Fame, so Warrior Pride always and forever. Thank you. Okay.
That's the class of 20 and 20. But the thing that you don't really realize is how great they are just as people. You try to give a little glimpse, but I can tell you this, if you were a father or a mother, you'd be proud to have a son or daughter like that, or a brother or sister, or a niece or a nephew, or a cousin. They're just exceptional young people. And although we could never tell how much time is left on the stopwatch of life, I'm sure as they continue on their journey, they're going to continue to touch people and change lives. You know, some people make teams better, but the true mark of a champion is people that make teammates better. And that's what these 6 did. There's an old line a coach told me all the time. It's a funny thing about life. If you refuse to accept nothing but the best, that's usually what you'll end up with. Ladies and gentlemen, this is some of our best. Congratulations. Welcome home. It's my pleasure to introduce the class of 2020. If you all want to come up here and help me unveil this thing, we'll do it.
Lift it up. There you go.
Yes. Why don't you guys stand around here? We'll get some pictures of you.
Yeah, 3 and 3, or yeah, you can't see them. Yeah, we'll set it up different.